Okay, good morning. Today we're going to look at some heavy wind practice. And I've restarted this round to get us a difficult wind. Typically, when I was coming out here to try and get some terrible winds, I got a series of beautiful tailwinds where we would have had no problem at all driving the green. We are going to learn nothing at all from that, so I've reset it to get us a terrible wind. Now, what we'll try and do is I'll try and walk you through the calculations that we're using for this. This one is almost a straight head, but it always goes further to the side than you think in high winds. We'll come to why, but the basic logic is this. In heavy winds, you need to behave things a bit different. When a ball is coming in like this, as opposed to in a 2 to 3 mile an hour wind, it might come in like that. Heavy wind, big crosswind, it might come in like this. The ball has to travel a lot further. Also, you are aiming sort of further into the wind, more into the wind than you would do in a small wind. So both of those things have an impact. There are a few other things too, but those are the main things you need to think about. So the mathematics here is 29 times 91. Divide that by 150 is the baseline. So baseline of, call that 18. 18 yards from 91 yards, a lot, right? We will, that's almost 100% headwind. So I'm going to knock that down to 17. Takes me up to 106. And from 18, that's probably going to go as much as 4 to the right, believe it or not. So we have 100 and 108. Two shots we can play here. We can play a sort of choke down pitching wedge, or we can play a bit of a smash with a sand wedge. Now, whenever you play a shot with topspin, it will be a little bit less impacted by the wind. The same is true if you're not using your normal amount of backspin, so it'll probably play a little bit less than normal. That will get us to about there. We should aim a little bit closer to the hole as well. There we go. Pretty good. So 4 feet. The wind does impact putts as well. But it's not going to make much difference on this one. We'll just whack this one. Okay. This can be a difficult hole, this one. So 26 times 180 divided by this is going to be about, I'll use 150 and I'll adjust a little bit. 150 as baseline 31. Now going downwind, it's going to play about half of that. Another wave, downwind's going to play about 50% for distance. So it's about 15. And when you are going across as much as this, it is going to play more than 50%. It's going to be it's going to play about 18. 18 across, 15 of tail, 165, 166 for the elevation. Now, we need to be really careful here. Anything landing here will not make it. It will stick and it will roll all the way back down, leave us a terrible putt. You can hold that, but it happens probably 1 in 30, not 1 in 2 or 3. Now we've got to try and get on this little tier here. Anything through here is real trouble, unless it just catches the back fringe. The back fringe is a place you'll end up quite a lot with this wind, and you can chip in from there. So 18 is about over there. I mean, this is a little bit safer over here. You can kind of kill it in this bank here. That is something in your favour. This flies 170 off the T-ball, so 166 over 170 is going to be about 98%, right? A little bit less, 97.6%, which is about there. Sweet. We missed the ding a little bit further to the right than I would have hoped for there, but I'll take that. I'll definitely take that. This one always turns a bit more than you think. Yeah, watch, it won't turn at all now. That's quite possible with the wind going that way. Okay, part of me's hoping for a nice tailwind so we can make an eagle here. Part of me's hoping that we get a terrible wind so we can show you a difficult shot. Yeah, we got the tricky one, but that's good. We're coming out to practice. We're not coming out to try and win a major tournament today.
That's in the garden spot.
So 29 times 48 over 150. 9.28. Now the less distance you're hitting it, the less the wind impact is. So 9.2 is probably nearer to 9. But it will be wanting to spin this way. It will want to spin hard this way. It just will, just watch. So we're going to go over there. I'd rather miss it a bit right and have it coming this way rather than going over there. Now it'll have to go further. Remember we said it has to go in a circle. It's going all the way over here. It's coming in like that. That means it's not 48 yards, that means it is more. So although that is almost a straight crosswind, we're going to have to add something for this. We're going to have to add, I'm going to add 3 yards for that. 52. And I'll add a little bit for the fact I think it'll probably be spinning backwards as well. There we go. That's tight. See, it was coming in, spinning that way, right? You do need to allow for that if you're playing in heavy winds. The good news of the ball coming in like that, it often goes in the hole a bit easier. Balls that are rolling across the green tend to drop in the hole much easier than the ones that are coming in. Coming in, just sort of bouncing and stopping. They just do. So that is a benefit of playing in high winds. You can get that break. In real life, this is a really difficult shot to go over here.
That's in the garden spot.
Duffing in these bunkers. I always used to hit a big hook off there. But in WGT, you don't tend to duff tee shots, so you can do that more easily. So 26 times 165 divided by, that's going to be about a 5 iron, 6 iron maybe. I'm going to divide that by 155. You'll see me messing around with the divisors based on feel. I would advise you to just start with 150. 150 for a headwind. But yeah, you'll see me messing around with that just based on all sorts of different terrain and contour things. You'll just have to get used to, but honestly, it doesn't make much difference. It's a couple of percent. So 27.7, calling all that 28. Now on this one, if you're coming in this way, it tends to shoot along this this bank here. Coming in this way, it won't spin as much to the right. It'll sort of behave itself quite well. We don't have to really adjust too much. I'm going to go 27, which is all the way over there. It's almost a straight crosswind, isn't it? Again, we are going to be coming in, you can see that's coming in, it's coming in like a big circle like that. So, you know, that's the standard adjustment. If you read the forums, it would say, you know, maybe add 10% for that. We're not going to add 10%, we're going to add a lot more. We are going to add 6 yards for that. So 165 plus 6 plus 1 for the elevation is 172. That unfortunately is an awkward distance. So I'm going to go down there, which is actually 171. And I'm going to come in a little bit because I'm using a bit less spin. Pulled it a bit. Yeah, that wasn't a good shot. 18.9 plus 2.2. Okay, it's going to be about 14. We're going to have to hit this. Add a bit for, same as the wind. When you go around a big circle, you have to add a bit more. That's not enough, is it? That's never enough. Got a chance. Turn. I overborrowed that. Oh well. That was pretty good when I hit it. It wasn't. Made a bit of a mess of the second shot there. Now, that's quite a good wind, actually. I hate the straight headwind here. It's, you can't get over hell bunker. That causes all sorts of problems. So we want to be going up that side there. I mean, if I can get a shoot off that, but you also risk landing into the face of it. I don't think I need to do that today. I think we can get there anyway. Play a bit of cut on the wind. Go ride the wind. Go. Go.
That's a
okay,
huge
that's good.
drive.
Three wood off the fairway. It's the left pin today, isn't it? That's interesting. I mean, this one's difficult because the ridge just gets in the way. This one, I think we can get there with a 3 iron. Yeah, so the calculation here, 31 times 2. I'm going to deduct something off the 244 just because I'm going to land it about here and run it up to 20. Yeah, 220. Divided by 160 for the long iron like that, it's not going to move as much. 42 as a baseline. Another way of doing this is instead of using the 150 as the divisor, you'd use something closer to 200 and then treat this as a 70% wind. I'm going to treat it as 45%. You end up with the same number. So it's about 20 of distance. And about, it's going to be a bit more of cross. It's going to be 22 or 3 or 4, 24 maybe. We're assuming we're playing full backspin, which we are not. So we'll then deduct something from that. I want to land it about here in this little flat bit and just watch it run up to the hole there. You can get away with landing here as well. You just don't want to land there. That would be super cool to land on this little spot in here. You can get away with this, and it is going to run. So we are going to go a bit less than all of that over there. We're going to go somewhere over here. I'm going to play it about that. Struggling with this a bit. This is going to look weird. Let's do that. And we're going to come further in, as it's not going to move that much on the wind with that shot. Let's bang it in there and hope. Needs a good bounce. Oh, that's a terrible bounce. That's a terrible bounce. Well, yeah, you can be there all night trying to get that shot right. It just needs to crawl over that ridge. Once it crawls over, it'll run all the way down there. Now, we need to be very careful. There's 2 shots you can play here. One is a big flop with this wedge, the 60. The other one is actually a full shot. What is the more useful one to show you? I'll show you the flop. I would have played a full shot, but so we need to go a little bit to the left for the wind. We also need to aim a fair chunk to the left, just because it always, when you play a flop shot, it always sets off to the right. So you need to aim over. I probably need to aim all the way over here. This will go 25 yards full back. But with the wind going down, it will want to roll on. And that's a bit of a menace. So we'll allow for a couple of yards of roll. We'll try and play it about 20 to 23 is where we're going to hit it, which is going to be about there. Oh, it really ripped up there, didn't it? It took sort of 3 bounces, then ripped. Surprised it did that downwind. But nevertheless, it's a good safe shot, that, if you just want to get, just want to guarantee getting somewhere near, and you've got some tricky terrain to cover. it's not a bad shot to just bang it in there with one of those. Get the birdie. Oh, it's a good one, but it's a dangerous wind, this one as well. So ideally we want to be in this little bit here. There's almost looks like a bit of a green here. That's where we want to put it. But you've got to watch, there's some fescue over here. If you get in that, you cannot reach the green. And as a rule, just keep it out of the bloody fescue is good advice. You can't afford to be. This is okay. This is actually quite a nice place to be, believe it or not. This is kind of okay. This is deep doo-doo. You can get in there quite easily as well. I have done that in real life. I've hit what I thought was a fantastic drive, marching up the fairway, thinking I was some stud, and found it round to the face of this bunker, much to the amusement of my playing partners. It's not such a good drive now, is it, Rob? As may have been uttered. So we need to just take a bit off this. Now I'm going to err on that. I need to make sure I get over that. Try and just drift it into here. Take a little bit off that. That's good. There we go.
That's
right in
a
the middle of that.
huge drive.
27 times 128 over 150. 23 would be a baseline. If it were a headwind, tailwind is only going to fly sort of 70% as much. So instead of being a 75% angle, this is going to be about a 50%. So that's going to get us to 11.5. 100 and I'm going to round it up to 12. 116 we are at so far, and then with a crosswind, that is going to be about 11. But so starting point is over here, which is about 11. You've got to watch for the contours. This will want to roll this way. It'll want to roll this way because it's coming in that way. It'll also want to roll that way because the contours take it that way. If we land here, it's likely to want to take a bounce as well. So 116, and that I'm going to play. This is a 115 shot. I'm going to aim a little bit further over as well, just to allow for that potential bounce. You see the bounce going. Yeah, you can see the bounce and the roll. That's why we've aimed a couple of extra yards over. Tap that in. Move to the next tee. Now, you can get a bit greedy here. Should we try for a big drive? I know you all like to try for a big drive. I'll try and catch the downslope of one of these fellas around about there, and down the fairway.
That's a huge drive.
That's still 342. Leaves us a nice distance. 28 times 82 divided by 150. 15. That is going to be most of that. It's going to be about 12, 11 or so. 11, 12. Never moves quite as much with a tailwind as with a head. 11 or 12. 82 plus maybe, what's this going to be? That's certainly more than a third, isn't it? It is going to be 6. 76, add a bit for that, 76 and a half. Right, so we said 11 or 12, well there's 11 and a half, it's about there. Now again, this will want to be coming in this way, it'll want to take a bounce. So although this is 76 and a half, I'm going to play a shot that is going to go only 75 and a half. No heartbeat. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Oh, it didn't take a bounce. It took a spin. Yeah, it's landed 80. Landed about where we wanted it. I thought that would have gone just coming in a bit more sideways than I thought. 8.6. It's going to be about 9.3. Remember that. Remember when I'm adding a shot. Remember that it's showing the ball here is 0.9 below. That's obviously complete nonsense. So you need to add one for that. It's 9.3, not 8.3. When in doubt, with the wind going that way on fast greens, it will move a little more than you think. The wind and the break go in the same direction is can be a bit slippery. It'll want to move off. Okay, this is a great hole. Mixed thoughts on that wind. It's a very difficult wind to get close to the flag. It's a nice wind to get a long drive. It's not a nice wind to get close to the flag. Now, fortunately, the camera angles are terrible here. There's some ridges here. If you land in those, it will bounce over here, over there. Invariably, it'll bounce into the long grass, and you have no chance whatsoever of getting close to the hole. So we are going to aim there. With that wind, I can afford to play a bit of back. I'm going to try and land it before that ridge. Ooh, I landed
That's
it
a
in
huge drive.
I got away with that a bit. I was trying to land it here, not there. It can shoot into all sorts of terrible places from there. 27 times 182 divided by. It's never as much as you think from here. Just isn't. 155, 31. That is going to be about 15 of tail and 15 or 16. 15 of tail, 15 or 16 of cross, maybe a little bit more of cross. It's going to get us about there. We have no real chance of getting this close. Because if it lands here, it will shoot. If it lands here, it'll shoot away into the fescue at the back and leave quite a tricky pitch. If it lands here, it'll roll to about here, which is a makeable putt. It's not bad. We can't, with the right to left wind, you can sort of land it in here and roll it in. You can't do that with left to right. So our best bet is to try and land it just into here, where it's a little bit more of an upslope, and hope it stops a little bit closer to the hole. That, I'm afraid, is all we can really do. I'll aim a little bit further right because landing here sort of kills it a bit as well. So about 160, 167. take a little bit off this. There we go. Yeah, no heartbeat. Didn't expect one. Where's this going? Yeah, it's done exactly what we thought. It's landed a pretty good place. That's pretty much as good as you can do from there. So 23 minus 2.4, 20.6 times 8 over 13. 12.7. The wind is going sort of into, and it does make a difference. I promise it makes a difference. If the wind was going this way, we'd have to play quite a bit more break because it would just keep running that way. It does do that in real life too, when you play these linksy courses. The wind can sort of take your ball and blow it away. I think that's a little too much. But then from here, that looks real nice from there. Yeah, maybe it's not too much from that sort of angle. Okay, I think that's not bad. So we're going to play it about, it's 12.7, we're going to need to add a bit for the wind and the going around in a big circle effect, about there. Beauty.
Drained it.
Okay. Go on, nice big tailwind that we can put it on the green and get to 9 under. Or alternatively, a terrible wind where we get to practice a difficult shot. That, unfortunately, is neither. It's a bit of a shame. Oh well.
That's a huge drive.
That's quite a nice pitch up the straight up the green, into the wind, into the hill. It's 29 times 30 divided by. It's not 150 from this close. It doesn't move as much as that. Divided by 170, about 5. Now we're going to get the usual problem here where we don't get sufficient. That is about, it's not actually going to move quite 5 either. It's going to move about that. That's good. I'm going to play a pitch, that's no good. 29, 30 plus 1, 31, it's coming, it's into the player as well. It's going to be about 32. We'll play this with, actually not going to play any spin at all. It just sometimes wants to bite and rip back at you from there. There we go. That's pretty tight. And we can tap that in for, yeah, solid round. Made the one mistake on 13, unfortunately. Otherwise, we'd have had a nice clean card. But that's okay. Fairly tidy. Yeah, just that was a bit of an aberration, wasn't it? Missed ding that cost us. Dearie me. Yeah, we haven't really been hitting too many dings lately, but yeah, you don't need to. Okay, so hope that is useful, and thanks for watching.